here for you. Good day, everybody. I just wanted to touch bases with you all and let you know I'm still here. And pretty much wrapped up my hay season. This is always a busy time of year for me, right? And it's been so hot. We've been sitting about 37 to 39, 40. A couple days we had plus 40, which is, where's it? That's sitting around 102, 103 degrees. Very hot, right? Very hot. Not unusual. Tis the season. Tis the season for our hot, dry weather. So I do not complain about our few weeks of hot weather, right? I just don't. Because it's going to change really quick and really soon, and it's kind of nice. It's kind of nice. A lot of people can't deal with the heat. A lot of people, oh, and they're talking, it's too hot. It's never this hot. It's always this hot. We have hot periods up here. The younger generation is just forgetting, or they don't know. But I mean, you can go back into your, I mean, it's all this global warming, and they really push that narrative, right? Farmers' almanacs, you can go to the old ones, right? And they log all this stuff. They log the rain, the amount of rain we have every year, the temperatures, the heat, water levels, you name it, it's in there, and it's average. You know, sometimes it's hotter, sometimes it's cooler. It comes and goes, right? It's like a wave, and not much has changed. This is a typical summer. It's a wonderful summer, actually. We had a lot of rain in the spring, which was very good for all our hay crops and seed crops and gardens, you name it, what have you. It was a good year all across the board. I was actually listening to the farm report here on our local radio station, and they were saying they haven't seen this good water levels, the yield of the crops and hay crops and stuff. They haven't seen it this good in like 20 years. So that's a good thing, right? That's a very good thing. I'm anxious to go squatching, go on a road trip. Like I said, we just wrapped up the hay season, so I've had 2 or 3 days here to go out and go somewhere, but it's so hot. 9 o'clock at night right now. We have a lot of daylight up here in Canada, in Alberta, in the summertime. We got a lot of daylight hours. It will not get dark here till 11:30 at night, 11 o'clock, 11:30 at night, and then even then, I mentioned it before, even at midnight, it's still not quite dark, right? There's still a bit of light, and that's how it is up here. Come winter, though, we have barely any light. We get, I think the sun rises here at 9 in the morning, 9 a.m., and it sets by 4:30 on our shortest day, right? On our shortest day. Anyway, so I had something I wanted to share with you. I'm still going to tell you about it. Here is something crazy, and I'm going to show you. So you can see right here. As some of you know, for the last 2 years, I've been trying to rebuild my back deck. We did hire a carpenter here, and he turned out to be a flop. That was a whole bad situation. And he started framing up my deck and then left me hanging, right? So I had to take over. I mean, I do now. I have my floor done. I'm working on my railing. I'm going to use a mesh wire instead of like any kind of lumber for my railing, right? It's a hog panel. You can Google it. And I'm also going to have a roof over this deck, a tin roof. It'll help keep things cooler in my house in the summer and all the snow and water away from my house in the winter. 5 nights ago, I had just finished the floor, finished my steps going down the deck. From the top to the bottom, you're looking at 6 steps going down to the ground off my deck. That's behind the camera. And to the top of this railing from the ground, so we're looking at about 7'2" to the top of this railing from the ground. And I had, okay, so this was 5 nights back, 5 nights back, one or the other. I start working on the railing. Listen to the sound here. Okay, it's important. It's important. So it's about 4 in the morning. I'm asleep. I fell asleep on my sofa right here, just to my right, inside my house. My sofa is just on the other side of this wall right here. And it's about 4 in the morning, and I hear, and I think there was about 5 of these, but I only heard 3, and I think the first 2 woke me up. That's what brought me out of my sleep. And I hear out here on my deck, 4 in the morning. It's dark. I'm fast asleep. And I had only gotten to sleep too, maybe for about a half an hour, because it was so hot in my house, right? The hot weather. I hear really heavy and really loud out here. Or I sat up and looked at my screen, or Charlie, my cat was looking out to see if he could see, and he was looking kind of up, right? From my door, he was kind of looking up. And normally, if there's something out here, you're looking down. But I don't think, and you know, I am sure you know where I'm going with this. It was one of the clan here. It was one of the Bigfoot, and he wasn't up on my deck. I believe he was down on the ground, and this is what I want to show you. And this is very interesting. This is very, very interesting. Right in this area here. The next morning, I come out here and I was walking around, looking around, and here there was a very lengthy Bigfoot hair stuck into, it just had gotten, and I don't know if that was from his head or from his hand or arm when he hit, and I think that's where he was hitting the top of the railing, right? Bang, bang, bang. And there was a beautiful, long, multicolored hair. One strand of hair was there. And here's the interesting part. I brought my camera out. It was there today. It was still there earlier on today. So that's been, I left it there for 4 days. Thinking, my plan was, okay, it's lodged in there pretty good. It's not going anywhere because we had wind, we had some rain last night. We had a thunderstorm last evening. And this morning it was still there. And all day I was out here working. I was out here working on my deck for part of the day and doing a few things with my livestock, with my animals. And it was here. I checked on it 3 or 4 times. My plan was to film it for you, document it, right? I just went in an hour ago from being out here, working out here. I could have swore I just heard 2 wood knocks. See? Yes. I think they're here with me talking, understanding what I'm saying. 2, 3. So anyway, I come out here to film it just now, just like half an hour ago. I come out with the camera, set my chair up here. I figured, okay, I'm gonna sit here, grab my pointer, brought my camera out, went to look at the hair. Because of the sun, I was thinking if the sun would be shining on it, it would really have an effect because it was multicolored, right? I come out of the door and it's gone. Gone. Like, I don't believe in coincidences. I don't think they wanted me to film it. I mentioned it before. They are very particular and very set against even people taking their hair and the hair samples or samples of anything of theirs. I know this. I also know this from others who have and end up having all kinds of nightmarish things happening until they put that stuff back, right? We were also told that growing up as well. Look at it, don't touch it. Respect it, leave it be, admire it from a distance, but don't take it. I think part of it was I think it was one of the big males because that's 7'2", and I'm thinking it was either from his arm, and he would do this from shoulder level, so I would imagine he was over 8 feet tall, or it was from his head, possibly, but still, that's over 7 feet in height, right, from the ground up. Very tall. And there's the big male. We measured him at 9 feet. That was the one that was standing outside of my mother's window when my mom was still with us before we lost her here 2 years back. Not quite 2 years ago, we lost Mom, but in her bedroom on the on the north side of the property here, behind the camera. Her bedroom faces the north pasture. I would say this was more into August. It was in mid-August because the carrots were almost ready to pick, right? And they came and raided her carrot garden. They cleaned it out. I had built her, it was 2.5 feet off the ground, and it was 3 feet by 12 feet. I made her garden boxes. They were side by side. They were not far from her house, and it was for her. because at her age she was already not, she was finding it difficult to crawl around weeding her garden and bending over and stooping over. So I thought, well, it really bothered her that she couldn't do these things anymore. And I said to her, I said, well, instead of not doing it and stopping what we do, why don't we just change how we do it, right? We'll do it so that it's easier, but you can still have your gardens. So that was a big deal when I did that. And it was a big deal for her. And her garden, her carrots, it was like this 3-foot by 12-foot garden box was full of carrots all the way down. And they came in one night, cleaned that out. And if you ever want to see something funny, amazing but funny, was the next day when we realized what they did. And she knew it was them because this is what I was going to. My point was that she woke up. She had sheer curtains on her window, and her window faces the north pasture. But you could see the silhouette of one of the Sasquatch standing just outside her window. There's always light. It never gets completely dark, and you can see light to the north. And that's what, and she could make this silhouette out of him just outside her window. And she could see his shoulders and his head above the bottom of her window sill, right? And we measured from the ground to the bottom of her windowsill is 7 feet. So he would have had to have been a good 9 feet because his shoulders and head were above that yet, right? So what I was going to share with you was she was out there that day and the next evening, and she was giving them heck. Oh my goodness, for eating all of her carrots. And she said, don't do that, right? Don't disrespect my garden. You can have some, but not all. That was my mom with the Bigfoot, right? She knew they were there. We grew up with them here. She knew they were here. And they listened to her because they never did touch the carrots after that. They never have. They have not touched the carrots since. My plan was to, on my side of the yard, I'm still going to do it. I'm going to do a couple of garden boxes and do one just all carrots because they love them. They love carrots right out of the garden. And the reason why we know it was them, and there was a lot of people, well, how do you know it was a Bigfoot? It could have been a deer, it could have been this, or it could have been that. The reason why we know is because we did track one on the dirt in between the garden boxes. It was a 20-inch track one. That's the big patriarch that's here. He's the one, when he's around, you can smell him, you can't miss him. He was the one standing just outside my mom's window. And in the box itself, when we seen it, my sister and I, when we went out to the garden box and we looked at it, it was amazing at what they did, right? They took all the carrots, like if it was a bear or a deer or anything like that, they just pull stuff, right? And then eat it and go. It would have been a big mess. There would have been carrot tops on the ground and carrots all over, and the ground would have been, that box would have been just a mess. Not here. Not in this case. All the carrots, every carrot was missing. It was done so neatly. And then they took their hands, they must have took their hands and they smoothed out that dirt, right? That whole garden box was just nice and clean and smooth. They are the only ones that would do something like that. A bear wouldn't think of it. They don't. Deer, no, it's just about the carrots. And anything else too that comes around. Of course, there's no people here. Our closest neighbor is 2 miles, over 2 miles away from us. We don't have lots of people running around in the dark out here, and where it's very rural, right? Very rural area out here, and lots of forests and fields, farmers' fields and forests and rivers and lakes, and like I say, everybody's neighbors are quite a ways apart from each other. Even people wouldn't have thought to do what they did, right? It was so clean. It was so clean, and the dirt looked so good, just perfectly level. I never did touch them after that. After my mom, she went out there and gave them the what for and how to get there, and never do it again. And you can have some, but don't take them all. She gave them a big lecture, right? It was kind of funny to see this elderly lady out there. She, you know, Mom was only 5'3", standing on her back deck, just giving the what for out into the trees. And they got it. They understood. So There are very large ones here. Like him, he's 9 feet. It was a good way to measure because my mom's window would be 7 feet, and his shoulders and head was above that yet. So, a good 9 feet he is, and plus the 20-inch track, right? He's very big, very very big, and he is, I think, the leader of the group that's here that we grew up with and that are here often. Just like now with the, I can't. This just blows my mind. I left it there purposefully to film it and share it with you, to share that with you as I told the story of how, it all took place and how it happened. And I come out here, like, it's crazy, right? I left it there for 4 days, and I come out here, the moment I come out here, and I had just seen it there, I checked on it, because I was thinking, okay, once the sun starts to set here and it cools off, I'm going to come and I'll document this hair, this strand of hair, right? And there it's gone. So that's okay. That tells me lots, speaks volumes to me, and it's on the line of thinking and my thoughts about all of that anyway. They are very particular and very careful about when it comes to their things, especially their physical, on their body things, right? For some reason, they're very, very OCD about that. And like I say, the people that have taken it, if it's real, people that have taken hair samples and things of theirs regret it. They learn to regret it very quickly, and things will not go back to normal until you take that back. Put it back where you got it. I think that's why the elders told us, and my elders and the stories that my ancestors talked about when it comes to these beings, whether it be the little people or the Sasquatch, the Bigfoot, Asuita, leave their things alone, right? Just respect it. Look at it from a distance. Even their structures, don't go hanging around them and touching them and moving them. I try to keep my distance, and I try not to go under or around them too much. I will document them and move on, right? I'm sure you've noticed that already. It's just what we do. It's just how I was brought up, and it's what I've learned. And I learned a lot of that over the years and growing up around them. I'm slow at it sometimes. Sometimes we're just, I don't know, their intelligence is above and away from ours. This is above and away from ours. It's interesting how they're brilliant, right? A lot of people do not give them credit. A lot of people start looking at them like pets. Even with what I'm doing with them, gifting, people look at that like I'm feeding elk or I'm feeding a herd of deer. They're not pets. They're not this here now. I accept that. It didn't bother me that it wasn't there, but it amazed me that it was gone. Because it was like an hour before it was there, and I had left it there for the past 4 days. And when I make a move to film it, to share it with you, it's poof, it's gone. And I don't believe in coincidences when it comes to them. Stuff like that is very purposeful, right? Some things they will show us, some things they'll share with us, and they'll come out to a certain point, but it still is about the survival of their species, and they're very, very careful, right? They're very careful, and is why they stay hidden, why they keep their stuff hidden. And the one thing that I was kind of excited to share with you about it was multicolored, and my sister was able to see it. She got to see it. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with you, and you got to see my goats, and sometimes I just sit there and I film, and we're looking at the tree line, right? You were able to scan that. Tree line. That would be south and east from the farm here. A lot of times I see movement. I sometimes see them walking through the trees down there, and just glimpses, right? And then a lot of times most times through the summer, a lot of times they're in the north pasture here. And I wanted to put up a still image here because I think that's where I'm going to go first, here on my first road trip when I get going here again. Do you guys remember this? Back in the trees at the Blueberry Patch, at the Bigfoot Blueberry Patch? Do you remember this Bigfoot anomaly? I don't know if it was because my camera moved or if it come through. It was coming through, almost like it was coming through into our realm. It's obvious. He's there or she's there. I'm not even sure if it's a male or a female because of how the whole thing, how it looks, right? Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. I think I captured that from my last, I don't know if that was my last trip in there, but I actually do want to go look to see if there's blueberries. And of course I'm going to take my camera and see if we can't see or see anything new, or maybe some of the clan is there, right? So stay tuned. And then I think we're going to head to Seven Creeks. And okay, I will quit rambling. I'll leave it there. Thank you all for being here. If there's any new subscribers that have come on board since my last upload, my last video, thank you for being here, and I appreciate you, and I will see you all in the trees. See you all in the trees. Bye for now.